All right, so let's talk specifically about usernames. What do usernames look like? What can they possibly be? And when you set up an email address, oftentimes you get to pick your username. Sometimes though, if you get your email address from a place that you work at, your usernames are chosen for you. But let's take a look at what some usernames might look like in different situations. So we're going to take our pretend person named Janice Crane. And what might be some logical usernames for this person? Again, we want to make sure we're following the rules, so there can be no spaces. It doesn't matter if it's uppercase or lowercase. We can only use certain characters. We can't use every character on the keyboard. We can use dots and dashes and underscores, but never any spaces. So a lot of times especially when you're choosing an email address for yourself and you know you're going to be using it in a professional way, like perhaps you might use it when applying for a job or as part of your work, you want to have something that has probably a version of your name in it to make it easily recognizable by people. And so one way to create a username is just to use your full name together with no spaces. So one username for Janice could be Janice Crane. No spaces in there, just all together. And it wouldn't matter if we capitalize any letters, so Janice Crane with a capital letter in it, that's okay too. These actually would be the exact same username because uppercase and lowercase don't matter in an email address. You can also use some of those punctuation characters in there that are okay, like dots or dashes. So I could do something like J.Crane. That would be a good username. You could use a dash, Jan-Crane. Also would work for a username. And you can also put numbers in there. So sometimes when you're choosing an email address that may be one of those free email providers, and all of the common versions of your name are taken, you can usually add some numbers to the end and hopefully find a number that no one else has. So you might be able to do like Janice Crane, and then throw a number at the end, 67. So this is also an okay username. You also may see someone with an underscore, Jan_Crane. So again, that's that shift in the dash key. And so kind of be careful because sometimes it's hard to see that underscore if it's typed somewhere. So just watch out for, remember, it's never a space, it's always an underscore. So I've got some extra spaces here in the guided notes. So go ahead and pause the video now and write a few more valid usernames that Janice Crane could use. The second part of the email address is the domain name, and that's everything that comes after the @ symbol in the address is the domain name. And that is a domain name that is chosen by the service provider. So whoever you're getting your email from, that's what the domain name is. Individual people don't get to pick what those are. But it's a good idea to know what some of those might be. So there's some email providers that are out there that offer free email. So anyone can go to their website and sign up for a free email account. And you've probably heard of some of them, like Google, a big internet search company. They have a free email service called Gmail. So their domain name is gmail.com. Microsoft, big company, makes Windows the operating system that we use often in this class. Microsoft also has their own free email service, and that's called Outlook. So their domain name is outlook.com. Flip to the next page in the guided notes. Another free email provider that you may have heard of is Yahoo. And their domain name is just yahoo.com. So you can see that the company that owns the free email provider, The domain name may or may not match the name of the company. So Google calls theirs Gmail, Google Mail, but it's not google.com, it's gmail.com. Microsoft's free email, they named it Outlook, but Yahoo, they named their free email after their company name, so that's yahoo.com. So just make sure that you know which one it is that you're using. And if you can think of any other companies that allow free email, you can go ahead and fill it in here. It's always a good idea to have a list of places where you can get a free email account. Now, those free email accounts aren't the only places that people can get email. If you have internet in your home, you might get it from your cable company or a phone company, and they often, as part of your subscription, will give you free email accounts. And so a couple in the area that I know of are Comcast is a cable company. They provide email service for people in the local area, and their free email accounts have a domain name, Comcast.net. And another cable company that provides email service is Metrocast, and their email addresses, the domain name is Metrocast.net. So these are ones that you often see, the free ones, and the internet service provider ones are often, you see people having personal email accounts. But sometimes you have an email account that's provided by your employer at work. So depending on the company you work with, they have emails that they give to their employees that are supposed to be used for work purposes. So perhaps you're an employee at Liberty Mutual Insurance Company in Dover, and there they might have a domain name libertymutual.com. Maybe you might work at another local business like Wentworth Douglas Hospital. They might have a domain name, something like wdh.com. And I don't know that these are actual domain names that companies might use, but often you'll see that work emails will be some kind of designation of the company, either the whole company name written out or maybe some abbreviation of the company. And then most commercial companies will have a .com at the end. If you work for a nonprofit organization, like I work for Dover Adult Learning Center, and so we have a .org email address, which indicates a nonprofit. So, but email at work, email for an employer will usually have the company's name somewhere in the domain name. And then if you're attending college, some colleges provide email addresses for their students or their employees. And sometimes they have domain names, usually the name of the school, and then .edu is an education organization, usually a college. So like UNH.edu, oops, DU. For the University of New Hampshire, I didn't write that well. And or if you're an employee of a local school district, it might look a little different. So lots of domain names have a .us at the end. This Dover School District employees have a dover.k12.nh.us. So you can see domain names can look very different depending on where you're getting your email from. But they still follow the rules. There's no spaces, and you see there's dots separating the different parts, but they follow all those rules of an email address.